Hey everyone. Hi Pisces. Okay, so seriously, in all seriousness, this is the it's the fifth time that I've recorded it. I sense that there's something. It's like we were talking about all the same things in kind of different ways, okay? But I guess what has happened is not the point anymore. And maybe that's what it is we kept trying to talk about the past in relation to the present. And what we need to focus on is the future, the present in relation to the future. Which is very interesting. We go from the knight to the page. Okay? There's something about less is more. Okay? I also sense that your finances will become better. Yep. If you do some sort of studying, whether you actually sign up for a class, go back to school, literally in some kind of way. It doesn't have to be technical, like you're receiving a degree. It could just be research you're doing at home. Reading up on things that make you feel excited and passionate for this opportunity, right? We have the Star and the Page of Swords. So a lot of people here, which there were in all the other readings also. For now, we also have the King of Pentacles on the bottom. The World. So I heard you're thinking about the next step. Sun and the Ace of Cups. Obviously, for some of you, the next step very much has to do with your inner child. It has to do with your happiness. It has to do with love and with healing, okay? This card came up in all four of your other readings. Now, number 5, remember to keep patience. The Fool on the bottom. Awesome. And just for fun, beneath that, the Ace of Swords, okay? It's the sword of victory. You have to be extremely honest and open and things like this, but victory all the same, okay? Now, it's important for you to wish during this time. To really like focus in on what you like, okay, say you're wishing for something. All right. Say you're like, oh, I wish that I had more money. And then you end up with like $1 in front of you. Well, then you have more money, right? Say you need, or you want, which is interesting. You do have to determine the need and the want situation, right? Because even if it's a need, it's still important to know how to wish for that so that it can actually come to fruition, right? And part of the way that we receive our wishes and feel really fulfilled in achieving that desire is when we know why we want it emotionally. Okay? Someone's teaching you about patience during this time. Hold on, I gotta turn that heater off just. I usually do readings over by the window, but I wanted to sit on the couch. Someone's teaching you about patience, okay? And about patience in receiving what it is that you're trying to achieve, as in a ultimate wish or desire, okay? There are air and earth people here, so those could be important. I specifically see Aquarius. I also see Leo. Taurus and Scorpio could be here as well, but Scorpio the least amount. Now, the point is that, okay, I see here, for some of you, maybe you're wondering, or you've wondered in the past, right? Like, what am I supposed to be doing with my life? Right? Like, how am I supposed to occupy my time? Like, occupato is like I'm busy in Italian, right? In Latin, it's I'm busy, occupato, occupata, actually, because I'm a female. But the point is that, like, how we occupy our time determines who it is that we are to most people, right? Like, if you're a lawyer, then you're a lawyer to people. You're a mom, you're a mom. You're a chef, you're a chef. You're a tarot reader, you're a tarot reader. People classify it and put it in these little boxes, and that, in essence, is the definition of self in some sort of way to the outside world. We also subconsciously determine our own value per whatever our occupation is. Now, the thing is God has given us many great gifts, right? Look at this. God has granted us as human beings, all of us, many, many talents, right? Many secret, special things that we know how to do in our own kind of way that other people don't do exactly like that, even if it's the same thing, right? And it's important to take stock and take note of what those are, to embrace, I heard, and nurture those, whatever those talents are, to not give up on them, right? Now, when you're figuring out what your natural talents are, okay, because you can, in essence, whatever God gave you for talents, whatever it is that you're good at, whatever it is that when people find out who you are as a person, regardless of your occupation, right? And actually, while you're sorting out, if you're still sorting out this question of like, what am I supposed to be doing so I can help the greater good, right? Because you really, a lot of Piscean people and that kind of energy really wants to help those less fortunate, right? It's the sign of sacrifice. But in the in-between stage of figuring out what that is, if you're trying to figure this out, is something about a good indication of that and where to nurture and to support your talent or you in that place is things that people just will have always complimented you on. Okay? Whatever people have always complimented you about is generally something to do with your purpose. Now, again, it'll take time to figure out how to go about that and to ultimately make your talent into an actual, to turn that talent into a skill and you know how to use that tool, and then to take that tool and to build yourself a place in this three-dimensional world that's stable on its own takes time, right? But it doesn't mean that it's not possible. And for a lot of you, I sense that there's something about that, like, and no matter what your job is, I want you to know that that is creative, okay? There's no, again, maybe when I went back to that definition, you know, like, say for instance, like my mom's been a secretary for as long as I can remember. You know, she was always the helper of the kind of head guy, whoever the head person was, right? It may be that it wasn't seen as creative, but it is creative. And even when she's not at work, she's still creative in other ways, like growing your garden or doing, herbal medicine or whatever, things like this. So it's important to remember, it's important to remember that no matter what your occupation is, that is creative, right? Because you are a walking piece of art. I was just telling a client this the other day. It's like, and it was such a beautiful thing. It reminded me of this, and we're just a walking piece of art. It's wonderful, So no matter your occupation, that is creative. And please try to find the creativity within it. Okay. Even if it's just the way you fold napkins, that's origami. Okay. And then also it's important that no matter your occupation and how creative that is, to be creative outside of your occupation. There's something about this where that'll also help you be inspired, right? Like you'll be looking forward to work. You'll be looking forward to coming home. You're just looking forward to things, right? That's really awesome. I like that. Looking forward, right? I mean, you have two aces here, the star, the sun, the world. It's extremely positive. The only thing that's kind of like, hey, would be like these two where you have to be patient in getting there, right? And again, maybe some of you need some, again, taking classes on something that, you never know. Because again, I keep seeing someone that already has a full-time job. It's weird. I don't generally see it's cool. Whatever. I'll just roll with it. Don't question yourself. Okay. Is a point. A and B, I keep seeing this person that has a full-time job, but then they know that they really like making pottery is what I keep seeing. I see a person at a potter's wheel. Okay. And they're just doing it in their spare time, like taking a class or something. And for some reason, I don't know if they tried it before or maybe a long time ago, there's something that used to draw them to that, but then they forgot or life got in the way. And then they were like, oh, I don't have time to carry this thing with me. I got to keep going this way. But now it's like they remembered, right? They remembered something about like what they've always wished. It's almost like you're like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Unless you have certain astrological placements, then you probably will answer it pretty quickly, right? I mean, of course, this changes and alters, but there's something about this. You remember something that you've always been attracted to, okay? Something that's always drawn you in, that inspires you, that makes you feel good when you participate in it. And because it's a potter's wheel, I sense it's something for a lot of you that's actually physical, okay? It's like where you're touching the actual object. It's less computer. It's more tangible. Okay. But either way, these are general, could be anything. But the point is that once you remembered, then it's not like you're automatically going to become a ceramist. Is that what you'd call it? A ceramist? That's a beautiful word. You're not going to become a potter tomorrow. Right? Full time. And everyone comes to you for their pots. They don't even know that you make pots because you just remembered that you know how to make a pot. Right? So that's really awesome. There's something about that. So maybe for some of you, if you say you're like, I don't know what the heck she's talking about and you haven't clicked off yet, well, then it's something about like, look in the newspaper or see if there's like free, just go for something free. You don't have to sign up for this big crazy thing that's like years long, just something. Or it's like free classes or cheap classes, community classes in your neighborhood. Maybe there's something going on that would, again, something that you would look forward to that's outside of the other things that you're looking forward to in life. It gives you another avenue of sorts. And the cool thing about that is I sense that if you actually put the dedication into learning about it, right, and put the passion attached to that, because this is something that you actually truly are desiring in this life, and keep really open-minded about the fact, because regardless of your age, right, you could be 60, you could be 16. I mean, you got to be 18. Watch these, I guess, legally. I don't know why. But the point is that it's like maybe there's something you don't know how to do yet, Or again, you were interested in it, but it's been so long that maybe there's questions. You don't know how to go about it exactly. Like, oh, how do I do that again? Or what's that jargon mean? You know, something like this, and not being like ashamed or afraid of it. Because I think that's why people stop learning. You know, I would say the majority of people here in Opal Oracle want to, but there's still things, right, where we're like, oh, well, I'm too old to go back to school, or, you know, I don't have time for that because I got kids, or, you know, we adults come up with excuses, but kids don't. Kids think that anything is possible no matter what way they look. So there's something about that with your inner child. It's like, do what it is that you love, Pisces. Especially during this time. But it's cool that I'm seeing this in such a way that's like, yes, it is very much in this February time. I mean, it's Aquarius season, right? So there's a lot of interesting ways of thinking about solving things and shaking things up a little bit that were kind of part of a routine. Oh, it's cool. Like the energy in my body is like really excited. It's like I'm kind of bouncy, you know, where it's like I'm looking around for you know, there's something, it's a cool energy. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. It's fun. It's not overly concerned about passing the test or, you know, having like, I don't know. It's not that there's not seriousness about it, because I guess it all depends on how serious you take the fun energy that's around you and what you do with it. Okay? Because if you take it really lighthearted and you're like, oh yeah, I like to draw blindfolded. I remember I used to do that when I was a kid, and it just like, you know, it feels good to you, then do that. It doesn't have to mean that your creative endeavor has to be your occupation, but how you occupy your time is important. So again, it's just like, depending on how serious you take the message that's being given to you now will determine ultimately what the future can become, right? I mean, you can get there no matter what way you go, but it all depends on how much time and energy you put into something, and whether you're willing for things to come to you, like come back to you, right? Like you put out this energy, like, well, I guess it's like starting anything to let people know who you really are, right? And what you're really all about, and what turns you on, what turns you off, and what you want in the future, what makes you happy. You have to tell people that, and that'll help, you know. There's something about this too, where I just saw this example of this person was like, getting a cup of coffee, and they wanted to, like they were looking for a place to live or something. And so they just randomly was just like, hey, you know, hey, what's up? Oh, well, what are you thinking about? Or like, what's up? What are you doing with your day? And then you're like, oh, I'm just thinking about, and like trying to, you know, reach out to people to like find this, or I've been looking to take these classes on this. Like, I'm really interested, you know, and I'm trying to figure out, and they're like, oh, I know this great. There's something about the socialization also with all these people around you. You want to use that energy accordingly. Okay. For a lot of you, Aquarius also can be being healed here somehow, some way. Okay. I also see Leo. I see a Leo Aquarius axis. Okay. I want, I think. I think, I want. It all depends which way you go, right? It also can be I rule. So it can be like, I rule how I think. I think I think I rule. That's like where you're not sure if you're in charge or not. And I heard that mentality of not being sure whether you're in charge or not is actually a very noble, humble place to be at this point. It's because subconsciously somehow you know that God or whatever you prescribe to as that you have an inner understanding of is actually really beautiful. Right? And there's something really strong about trusting the path. And I heard remembering your desire. Cool. Remembering your desire. There is something for a lot of you about feelings and work. You could be working on your feelings, of course. But either way, it's really important for you to remember to express what it is that you desire during this time. And to know, like we were talking about earlier with wishing, when you wish, like know why you're wishing for what you wish for. This is incredibly positive, though. Really. I heard this time frame also has something to do. I see rather that this time frame has something to do with the last, like the last year and a half or so. All that time in between has brought you to this place. Okay. It's not that there weren't bumps along the road, because there were. But who you have around you now is important there's another person. Who you have around you now and another person is very important, okay? Because sometimes in life we end up, and this is just a side note, like something to contemplate, keep in mind. Because sometimes when we desire things, right, the reason why you have to check into why it is that you want it emotionally speaking, like what does it actually give you in this life, in the physical world, you know, that's important to understand, because we can become then possessed by what it is that we desired because we receive it. Right. And it's almost as if you have to be, well, what do they say? Be careful what you ask for. Right. Because you just might get it. And it's good to know, again, be responsible to why it is that you're asking for things, especially when you already have so much. And if you want extra in some kind of way, it's like, just check in, you know. Because I guess everyone has a different level to what it is that they actually need. Right? Some people need a whole bunch of money in the bank account to feel stable. Some people just need to pay paycheck to paycheck and they're fine. Right? Some people need a lot of bright light in their house. Some people don't mind if it's dark. Some people don't mind if it's messy. Some people need it really tidy, you know. Some people need a brand new car. Some people are down for something old and rust, you know, some old rust bucket, which I love. But you know what I mean? It's all about what you need. and understanding the difference between need and want. And knowing, again, I heard that all these people around you are here to support you as you go along in this journey. By that, you're actually all supporting one another, and where it is that you're going. Although I sense that there's something, again, we went from the Knight to the Page, right? So it's like there's a little bit of less than there. But for some reason or another, for you to move forward, you need to have a little bit of, you need to have less than something. Gemini had this too. I don't know if I mentioned that. To accept yes as less than for right now and be patient in the process and go little by little, then you end up with more in the end. And actually, more right now would be overwhelming. Like, say, okay, let's go back to it would be overwhelming. Like, say for instance, you figured out your life path tomorrow, and then you were like, okay, well, I'm a potter now, I'm going to quit my job and just become, and all of a sudden, you know, you had 1,000 people ordering plates, but you don't even have your own potter's wheel, right? So you gotta, like, there's something about taking, and I just getting anxious when I thought of all that. It's like, just take it easy a little bit in where it is that you're going, because all this energy is so big, and you know, you're kind of walking through the meadow right now. So take advantage of this kind of downtime, whatever that may be. Spend time with loved ones, all these people around you, right? Share your beautiful Piscean light upon people, right? Share your love. Maybe even share what it is that you've had to go through recently. If you happen to see someone that's a little bit down, right? Shoot them a smile. Like, look somebody in the eye. Ask them how they're doing. Be your Pisces. Because when Pisces is fun, it's really bubbly, you know? It's like, I don't know. It's like an excitable place. And I feel like it's very childlike at times. You know, because saying to somebody sometimes, or hearing from somebody else, like, oh, it's cool. Like, you know, I had to go through that last year. Or, you know, that happened to me when I was a kid. Or, yeah, my boss talked to me that way too. Or, of course, these are, I'm seeing if you saw somebody that was down, but you can also just continue to boost up whoever's up too, you know? Like, oh, you look so beautiful today. You know, nice threads. Where'd you get those? Oh, I like the way that you think. That was really awesome. Thank you for teaching me, right? Thank you for teaching me that. Oh, you know, telling people how they inspire you, right? Thinking about all that. Being grateful for all the things that you're closing out and all the healing that you're going through, even though a lot of the stuff with this, that's Uranus, you know, it's like, can have a lot of shakeups. It's like, you know, being grateful for the ground that stuck around. And your ability to be able to keep positive and loving, even though things didn't always maybe turn out the way that you wanted in the past. Right? But knowing that that in itself was here to teach you how to be more patient. Right? How to be more patient. How to be more patient. How to be more patient. Because you got quite a fire to you, Pisces. You get it from your mama too, most of it. But yeah, good reading. Very interesting. Yeah, you do get it from your mama. Anyway, I love you. Please take care. Remember with those 2 pages also, you want to be cautious of how you say things to people. Like, childlike excitability is cool, but there's a need to be aware, right? Because you are an adult. If you tap into the inner child, it's not about being reckless. It's just about letting that curiosity be free. Okay. All right. Take care. Peace.